Now, we can talk about what happened with the Bills and the Ravens, with Lamar and Mark Andrews, the Bills' defense holding up when they needed to, the Eagles holding off the Rams, Chiefs against the Texans. Yes, there's going to be conversation. Patrick Mahomes gets all the calls. He doesn't, but I think because they're always on national TV, when he does get a call, it stands out more than anybody else. Michael Jordan got calls. LeBron got calls. This has happened before. Tom Brady got calls. At least in our minds, you say, oh, they get all the breaks. Well, these games are always in front of us. Therefore, when you see something like this, you remember. It's kind of burnt into our brains here. But the Chiefs over the Texans, and I know the Texans, they're complaining about we had to beat the officials. If that's your mindset going into a game against Patrick Mahomes, feels like you're kind of defeated. Hey, we knew we had to beat the referees as well. Well, you might have had to beat the referees, but it would have helped if you kept the Chiefs from beating up your quarterback. You had over 100 yards more of total offense. You didn't have any turnovers. You have no excuses other than your excuses that you didn't take care of business. Did Mahomes get a call there or two? Yes, probably did so. Probably so. Or at least the letter of the law with the NFL. But they had opportunities. You can't have your quarterback get pressured, hurried over 20 times and get sacked, 8 times? I mean, he was hit 14 times. That's on you, not on the officiating, not on Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs do just enough, and you have to do just a little bit more. And you didn't do that. So I don't want to hear the complaining from the Texans. You had a great season. You had an odd season. You came back, and you had impressive football there at the end of the season. But you guys lost the game. You had your opportunities. In the red zone, don't miss kicks. I mean, there's a lot of blame that goes around. Let's not start with the officiating. Start with yourself. The Commanders shocking the Lions. That was one of those where, wow, somebody better slow down Washington, and they couldn't do it. And the Lions, they did their part from the standpoint of they put up points and they had yardage, but you had turnovers. And that's the big difference. We saw this with Jared Goff, and we saw this with Sam Darnold. Like, you're like, okay, all right, hey, these guys are looking good, and then they weren't looking good. And then all of a sudden, we seem to regress back to, kind of this same old, is this the ceiling for Jared Goff? Maybe. They had a wonderful season, and they had a lot of injuries to overcome. And, man, was there some pain in Dan Campbell's voice after the loss.
When you lose these games, man, it's like the players. What they put into it, a lot of people don't know, what they go through. You have to get up, bodies beat the shit. Mentally stay locked in and do those things. So, long season.
Yeah. Tough. Because if you're a Lions fan, some of you, probably a lot of you, book flights to New Orleans. And I understand why you would. Because you thought, all right, we're the team of destiny. You start to believe that until you realize you're not the team of destiny. That might be Washington. Might be Philadelphia. Might be Kansas City. Maybe it's Buffalo's turn this year. But these losses, this is what you take into the offseason. Imagine you're Mark Andrews. You've been the security blanket for Lamar Jackson his entire career. All else fails, Mark Andrews is open. If you would have said to me last night at halftime, hey, by the way, it's going to come down to Lamar throwing a pass to Mark Andrews. How do you feel about it? Game on the line. I'd say, yeah, love it. Of all the people that I would want with my hands on the ball, it would be him. Mark Andrews, always reliable. Now, you had the fumble where they punched the ball out. I don't know why he was trying to juke somebody to get more yards there, but he did. But it came down to the 2-point conversion and Lamar rolling out. Now, I said at the time, I know we have revisionist history a lot, but I wanted to see, and I've said this all year long, all I wanted to see is whatever was made Baltimore successful, they stayed with that in the postseason. I got Derrick Henry, and I'm not using Derrick Henry at the end of the game. I would love to have had Lamar and Derrick Henry and say, you guys pick your poison. Try to stop one of us. And they didn't do it. Here is Lamar after the game talking about turnovers.
It's a team effort out there. You know, he's been busting his behind, he making plays happen out there on that field for us. Came up short. And like I've been saying all season, every time we in situations like this, turnovers play a factor. Penalties play a factor. Tonight, it's the turnovers. We can't have that, you know? And that's why we lost the game, because as you can see, we're moving the ball wonderfully. It's hold on to the ball. I'm sorry for my language. Annoying. I'm tired of
Derrick Henry had 16 carries. I thought in this kind of game, against that defense, at least 20, 25 carries. I don't know what the downside is with that. This guy ran for 1,900 yards. So it's not like you go, hey, you know what? We're thinking about doing something different. This is what you did. He averaged 5.5 yards per carry. Don't get out of your comfort zone. Do what you do well. I mean, Buffalo's defense is not formidable. It's a bend, don't break defense. I thought that they would just go, here we go. Hey, Derrick's getting the ball, try to stop him. Or you have Lamar as well. But look, you get in these moments and it's one play or two plays, and that's your season here. This is what it sounded like last night with the potential game-tying two-point conversion.
For the tie, the two-point conversion. Lamar takes the snap, rolls to the right, throws, complete. No!
He
dropped it. Mark Andrews hit him in the hands. And Mark Andrews dropped it as he fell into the end zone.
One of the more sure-handed players in Ravens history dropped it, hitting him right in the hands.
Yep, I think, and even Jim Nantz thought that he had caught it just because of the angle there. And it's Mark Andrews, because he should have caught it. Does it come down to him? Yes, it does. Yeah, that play extends the game and extends their season. Is it the reason why they lost? No. But that will be the singular play that we'll look at. And the other play will be when the ball got punched out. Because Josh Allen didn't play great. But what I loved about Josh Allen, and I preached this all year long, he's learned how to play the position. He doesn't have to be Superman. He doesn't have to try so much, try so hard, fewer turnovers. That's how you win these games. Nothing fancy, just no mistakes. And that's the difference in this game. Yes, Eden.
There was a point in time where the Ravens had the ball. It was 1st and goal from the 2. And I don't know how you don't give Derrick Henry the ball 4 straight times. There's no way you're keeping him from getting those 2 yards 4 straight times, and I don't know that they gave it to him once. That's crazy to me.
It did remind me of Marshawn Lynch. Like, they have to give it to him. The Super Bowl's on the line. He's right there. Just run it in.
Give it to this dude. What are you throwing it for?
Stat of the day brought to you by Panini America, the official trading cards of the Dan Patrick Show. Speaking of stats, Paulie?
Derrick Henry had 5 carries on that touchdown drive the Ravens had in the third quarter. In the other 8 drives that they had, he carried the ball 11 times.
Yeah.
I had to double check that.
Stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day, stat of the day. Here comes that
what?
Stat of the day.
Creativity can be overrated sometimes. Yes. How about we just do something really simple? Yes. Just simple. Don't have to, you don't have to do trickery. You don't have to be Ben Johnson in the lines. Just sometimes you just go, here it comes, and it's going to hurt. Yes, Todd.
But then you can do that, and then if you get stopped and it doesn't work out, there's going to be people saying, they knew that was going to happen. Why would you do the same thing that they're waiting for? The Eagles got away with it. Everyone knew Saquon Barkley was going to get the ball, and he destroyed them, even though they knew this was going to happen.
But, Todd, you just answered your own question.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Obviously, it didn't work for the Ravens. They overthought it. Like, they'll never expect this. They think we're just going to have Lamar and Derrick run the whole game.
When they stop him, we can have this conversation. They didn't stop him.
They did not. They
knew that Saquon was going to run the ball. They couldn't stop him. And if I'm Buffalo, God, I know that one of those two is going to run the ball. I just had to factor in the weather. Like I was blown away. I kept going, God, this is really simple, isn't it? Why are they making it complicated? First hour brought to you by the great folks at Maaco. Most cars on the road could use a little TLC. At Maaco, they bring your car back to life. Affordable paint jobs, light collision repairs. Get a free estimate today. Better get Maaco. Seton, what's the poll question from the first hour of the program?
Well, we got a few options here that we could start with. We could start with who had the best weekend. We could start with who had the worst weekend. We can start with who was that a tougher loss for, the Lions or the Ravens?
I don't know. It feels like it's the Lions. Like I can hear it in Dan Campbell's voice. I don't know if John Harbaugh's voice. Can you play John Harbaugh talking about Mark Andrews? Let me hear his voice.
There's nobody that has more heart and cares more and fights more than Mark. We wouldn't be here without Mark Andrews. That's what you say to him. So it's like anything else. I mean, destiny is a decision that you make, and it's a decision is how you handle what comes in your life. Now, Mark will handle it fantastic, like he always does, because he's a high character person. He's a tough person, and he's a good person. So proud of him, just like I'm proud of all the guys.
All right, more of an uplifting. Dan Campbell's like, I can't hide any of this. This emotion is deep. Yes, Eden.
Hey, there was a moment just after halftime last night when John Harbaugh came out and he's doing the interview, and they're like, "Hey, coach, what are you going to say? Whatever, this and that. Second half, how you can start, blah." And they're like, "What do you say to Lamar Jackson?" And, sort of like a rough first half. He had 2 turnovers. Or what do you say to Lamar Jackson going into the second half? He goes, "I don't need to say anything to him. He knows what he's doing." I don't need to say anything. He's Lamar Jackson. He's good. He knows that he shouldn't have done those 2 things, and he knows what he needs to do moving forward. He's fine.
It doesn't happen often, And I had an unbelievable season. It's just like Justin Herbert. What did he have? 3 interceptions? And then he surpasses that. Lamar Jackson doesn't, 4 interceptions? They don't turn the ball over, and then what do? Interception, and I think maybe the receiver ran the wrong route, and then, fumbles. It's so small, the margin between you win or you lose. And that's why Buffalo moved on. I don't think they tried to play any different than they had all season long, and it felt like Baltimore got away just like last year.